Okay, so what we need to do, so what's happening here is that I'm passing the project from Backbone, it's a Backbone model, to JSON. I'm passing that into the React view. So the React view gets it, but it's not in Redux state. See, after the load hosts, so it loads the hosts into Redux state. The hosts are there, but the project is not. The project is in Backbone land, but it's not in Redux state. So when we mutate it in Redux state, these don't disable like they should when you leave the project immediately. So what we need to do is hydrate the project into Redux state. So let's do that. So in the bigger picture, right, once this parent view is refactored into Redux, it will handle loading the project. But since we're not going to refactor that parent Backbone view into React yet, we need to come up with some sort of a bridge, some sort of a way to hydrate the Backbone model. I mean, we could. So, I mean, basically, what we're going to do is a load load project here, and component did mount, because this is what it's going to look like. This is what just kind of is more idiomatic. Load project. It's going to pass it the project. Yeah. So eventually that'll become a project ID, and it'll request it from the server. But since we already have it, we're just gonna spread it directly into state. So that's gonna be weird. And let's do that over here. Let's clean this up. I've got a lot going on here. This is the, let me just clean up here. So in our data here, projects, so in the projects action creators, we have a whole shitload of project action creators. Refresh, request project list, open, close, duplicate, load project. See here, and it takes a project ID. And this is the old style with our load project. This is very old. It's one of the very first action creators we wrote. So this is not what I want to do. Load project search. So what we're going to do is we're going to write a new one. And we're going to call it hydrate project, because that's what we're going to do. Hydrate project, basically. And it's going to take a project. And return a dispatch here. A function that takes a dispatch and then dispatches the action type actions dot hydrate project. That's what we're gonna do. It's a unique thing. I don't think it's been done before. We'll see how it works out. Okay, and our payload is the project. Yeah, that's kind of, it's a very simple action creator. And our action types. This is a very interesting action. Okay. And I'll call this hydrate project. Okay. And then in our reducer, we have our leave project. Let's put it right before this because these are not hosts action type. These are actions dot hydrate project, and it just takes a project, and then it does this project.id, and we just spread the project directly into state like that. Right? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And then we come back here and we change this to hydrate project. So this is a temporary action that we're going to use to hydrate a backbone model into Redux state temporarily during this transition period. Hydrate project. Okay, and now let's do all of the bookkeeping here. So we're going to say hydrate project, and this is a project action dot hydrate project, and our action creators. Let's see here, team view action creators, selectors. Let's put our action creators together, our selectors together, our components, our modals, and our view. Okay, so right here, project actions from, and that's going to be in main data projects action creators. Let's put that first. Project actions. Okay. Hydrate project. Yeah. And then we'll pull it out of the props. And it's in, needs to be in prop types. Okay. All right. So now that should work to. So what made me find this was that when I leave the project, this doesn't become disabled. It was not becoming disabled when I left the project until I refreshed the page, and that when it did disable after refreshing the page, that was a clue. I was like, wait a minute, something's wrong with the Redux state. And also this join project. This is something we're going to do too. This button here is in Backbone. This is a Backbone view. Everything above the tab here is all Backbone. So this probably is dependent on the Backbone project model host ID, which is why these are disabled. So we will have to do that. Where I lost it, I closed it. In the project model, the Backbone project model, which is in shared here, it's right here, project model, in leave. So there's this unset, and then we're going to have to trigger a leave probably on the Backbone model and do an app.event model project leave in order to update the Backbone land and make this button show up. But that's next. First, we're going to confirm that this thing worked. So I have to rejoin the project. I could do it through the UI manually. but I want to do it in RoboMongo. Just manipulate the database directly. It may be faster once I figure out how to do it. So we go to our collections and we go to, where is it going to be? In the projects. View documents, let's see here. And then let's get this project. So ID, object ID, this one. Let's close this. Let's see here. I don't think it's in this model at all. Yeah. It's going to be under hosts or something. What? How do I even know what? How does it know where the hosts are? Project hosts. Here we go. Oh shit, it's going to be, I'm going to have to create a new host. Does it create a new host when I join? It's gonna be complicated. Anyway, let's just do it manually. Fuck it. Let's do it the way I know it will work, and it's not gonna take that long, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. So I have to log out and then just log back in as Steve. And re-add me to the project. Alright. So we go back to the project, we go to the team. Damn, and I have to check out dev too. I really need to implement this functionality of adding a user, because I have to go back to dev every time I want to add a user. I've got changes too, hella changes. So what we're just going to do is a git stash. And then check out dev. Wait for that to rebuild. And then add me. This is taking too long. Errors because it's an intermediate build or something. Okay. This is why I wanted to just figure out how to do it in RoboMongo. That took too long. Let's add some more people while we're here too. I can just and Thomas too. Okay. And then yeah. And then we'll go back to team tab, refactor react 4, git stash apply, our changes back, and then we'll change. So then I'll just leave the project as I'll assign a new lead once the page rebuilds. Maybe I need to restart my computer instead of heating up. Probably hear the fan recording. Come on, buddy. Alright, here we go. So we're going to change it. Set project lead to me. And then, since I'm Steve, if I go to remove teammate, leave the project. Yes. Damn it. Didn't work. Leave project. So, see, this is supposed to be disabled now. But it's not. Leave project. Did not. Oh, I know why. Damn it. I forgot to get the model from a selector. That's why. Because it's still addressing the project as passed in the IDs, in the props. I need to access the project from a selector, which gets it from Redux state, as opposed to from the prop. So, and then there's going to be name overlap. So let's do this. Let's go back here to the index React. And let's refactor this so that it doesn't take a project, it takes the project model, like this. You just go options.model, like that. Project model. So it's explicit that we're passing a backbone model, like that. Move this over to position 1. And then in our team view container, it's going to be, we're going to have project, but we're also going to have project model, which is the prop types. I should do a backbone prop type here, but whatever, I'm just going to get it done. Is required. It's a project. Then, in our component to mount, we get the project here, the project model. See, and we go constant project equals, or we'll say project attributes, or project JSON, equals the project model dot to JSON, like that. And then hydrate project JSON, fucking like this. Project, instead of renaming that project JSON, it takes a project. And then the load hosts, we can do like this, project JSON.id. I should probably put a comment in here. So I'll comment later. So basically, what we're doing is we're we like, until we refactor parent backbone views to React, right? We are going to temporarily we're going to temporarily hydrate Redux state directly with backbone model, project model, basically, is what we're doing. Okay, and then we need the project selector. So our project now is going to be our project selector, project lead selector, project selector, which is going to come from our selectors, project lead selector, here, project selector, and then we go to back over here with our action creators and our data projects. We can just do, this is projects, reveal this in the sidebar to get to our selectors. Project selector, there's already one there. But it has to have a project or a project ID in the props. So we need to ensure that there's a project ID in the props because project is not in the props. Project selector. So that means going to this guy here, project ID. Let's add a project ID here. Damn it. So options.model.id. I guess it's not pretty, but that'll do it. That'll give us the ID and the props, and then the project selector will work, and that will give us the project from state. And then when we access the project to see if it's disabled, to see if everything's disabled, it will work. See in the team view, oops, whoa, getting all over the place here, is disabled. So this stuff is disabled based on the project host ID, which gets omitted in the reducer when you leave the project, but only in the Redux state. So that should work. Looks like I probably have an error. Look. So now all the hosts went away for some reason though. What's going on here? That's weird. Selector is the map state. Selector is not a function. Something's wrong with our selector. Project selector. Project selector from me. Oh, this is why. User selectors. This is why. Project selector needs to come from projects, obviously. What's wrong with this one? It's already defined. No, it's not. Okay. That should do it. Refresh the page to remount the component and load everything. Boom. And project was not specified in team view container. Oh. So prop so now that it's coming from a selector, it's not going to be there right in the beginning. It's going to take a second for it to hydrate into state. Like the component's going to mount without it, and then it's going to load it into state because it gets the project model and the ID and the props. Oh, I should put project ID in the props. Here, project ID. And that is required. That will come in right away. And in the team view, also here, it's not required. So that should take care of those. And I'm not, okay, so now everything's disabled like it should be, because I'm logged in as Steve, and Steve is not in the project. Okay. So now I log out and log back in as me, so I'm on the project again. And it should work this time. So slow, oh my gosh. So, yep, this project, this team, load host resolve, hydrate project, and I'm in. Okay, and this is not disabled. Whoa, it's really going slow. I gotta do a restart. Let's just make sure this works. So if I, oh wait, I have to make somebody else the project lead first. Otherwise I won't be able to leave. I won't be able to remove the current lead. I can say leave project. And then, boom, disabled. I must join this project in order to make changes. And now next, okay, so that works. Now next is this. See, so this shouldn't be visible now because I'm not in the project and I can't make changes. So I can't close it and I can't keep it active. So as soon as I leave the project, this backbone view needs to update. And so that's a good example of another bridge between React and Backbone. Is how do we communicate when you execute an action that mutates state? How do you communicate that action to Backbone so that Backbone can also update its views? And I pointed that out earlier. Clearly, just the vent. Where is it? It was in the index. It was in the index. No, it was on the project model. And shared here. Yeah, right here. Delete this guy. Right here. Trigger and event. All right, but let's do that next. So let's commit this. So this was wrong. Leaving the project unsets the host ID on the project, not the hosts. So that was wrong. I removed that. Added a hydrate project action creator. And added the action type. And then is this? Oh yeah, I removed, this is just linting error that I cleaned up. I added hydrate project and leave project action to the reducer, to the project reducer. Hydrating the project just spreads it directly into state. Leaving a project unsets host ID. In the team container, I modified the component did mount. Yeah, and basically, yeah, this is a stopgap measure here to hydrate the project into Redux state. Yeah, and load hosts, hydrate project, and then we refactor this a little bit so that it passes the project ID and the project model explicitly. Model being a backbone term in this case. Okay, so let's commit that, and we'll say basically added a hydrate project action to spread backbone project model into Redux state. So that all actions become disabled when user leaves project, for example, basically. Okay, and so now on to the backbone view up here.